Coco Gauff reveals shocking comparison. Anisimova versus Sabalenka after China Open loss. The lights of the National Tennis Center had dimmed hours ago. The crowd had gone home. The banners and flags were folded away. But in the locker room, the air was still thick with conversation, flashes of emotion and whispers of what had just happened. Coco Gauff, fresh off her hard-fought loss in the semifinals of the China Open, sat with a headset on, replaying moments from her match against Amanda Anisimova. Across the room, journalists crowded in for interviews, eager for reaction. Coco knew they wanted sound bites, but her next words would set Twitter ablaze. Anisimova, she's not just powerful. She's like Sabalenka, but sharper, more thoughtful. That's why she's winning now. The comment went viral before the press conference was over. The shockwave across tennis. Within minutes, sports media exploded. Coco Gauff compares Anisimova to Sabalenka. What does it mean? Headline Tennis Now. Analysts debated for hours. Was Coco saying Anisimova was on Sabalenka's level? Was she implying Anisimova's style was superior? Social media lit up. Anisimova equals Sabalenka 2.0. Coco just changed the narrative of women's tennis. The Dragon Queen of Beijing confirmed. Even Sabalenka herself weighed in later with a wry smile. Flattered, but I'll let the matches speak for themselves. The comment was more than a soundbite. It was a spark. A comparison between two fierce champions had been drawn, and fans everywhere began dissecting it. Coco's China Open journey. Coco Gauff had arrived in Beijing with determination. The crowd adored her. The cameras followed her, but the weight of expectation was enormous. She had battled through a tough draw. Round 1. Defeated Emma Raducanu in 3 sets. Round 2. Outsmarted Ons Jabeur in a high-intensity clash. Quarterfinals. Beat Aryna Sabalenka in a stunning match. That victory over Sabalenka was her first real statement of the tournament, a sign that she had arrived in peak form. But semifinals were a different story. Amanda Anisimova stood in her way, unbeaten for weeks, radiant with confidence after her Madrid win and her rise to Beijing glory. Coco fell in a brutal 2-set match, 6-4, 7-5, despite holding multiple set points. She left the court exhausted, emotional, but reflective. That's when she made the comparison in the post-match interview. The comparison, why Coco said it. In her locker room, Coco was asked to elaborate. Sabalenka is raw power. Anisimova is power and precision. Sabalenka forces errors. Anisimova constructs points. Against her, it feels like she's not just hitting the ball. She's playing chess on court. That's why she's so dangerous right now. Analysts quickly broke this down. Sabalenka, aggressive baseline hitter, dominating serve, raw intensity. Anisimova, strategic shot selection, mental composure, ability to adapt mid-match. Coco's words placed Anisimova in a new frame. Not just as a strong player, but as a cerebral force, a unique blend of power and intelligence. For tennis fans, it was the opening of a new conversation. Is Amanda Anisimova the new Sabalenka, or something greater? The Anisimova effect. Anisimova's response to Coco's comparison was characteristically humble. In her own post-final press conference, Amanda said, Coco's words mean a lot, because she knows how it feels to be in these matches. I respect her immensely. I've watched Sabalenka's game for years. She's incredible. But I'm just trying to play my own tennis, match by match. But the media sees the moment. Headlines read, Anisimova versus Sabalenka, the new rivalry. Coco Gauff, the prophet of women's tennis. China Open turns into mental warfare. The comparison sparked a re-examination of Anisimova's game. Analysts pointed out that her run in Beijing, winning her second WTA 1000 title, showed she was evolving into one of the sport's most complete players. The technical breakdown. To understand Coco's comparison, analysts broke down the Beijing final match against Noskova. First serve accuracy, 72%. Winners, 38. Forced errors, 21. Average rally length, 7.6 shots. They concluded Anisimova's ability to shift momentum mid-match mirrors Sabalenka's power, but she does so in additional layer of strategy. It's not just hitting hard, it's hitting smart. This is the nuance Coco had identified. Sabalenka's strength lies in overwhelming opponents, Anisimova's lies in dismantling them. The psychology of the comparison. Coco's words carried deeper meaning. For years, Sabalenka had been one of the most talked about players in the WTA, a force, unpredictable yet dominant. By comparing Anisimova to her, Coco was placing Amanda in an elite mental category, players who can dictate their own narrative. Sports psychologist Dr. Elena Vasquez commented, Coco was speaking to something intangible. She was recognizing Anisimova's mental evolution, not just her physical game. That's what separates champions from contenders. For Anisimova, the psychological boost was enormous. To be compared to Sabalenka was to be acknowledged as a player with the potential to dominate women's tennis for years. The reaction across tennis. The comparison became a defining talking point. Tennis podcasts, TV segments, and fan forums debated it endlessly. In Beijing, fans chanted, Anisimova, Dragon Queen. On Twitter, hashtags exploded. Hashtag Anisimova versus Sabalenka. Hashtag Coco knows. Hashtag China Open 2025. Even Sabalenka responded with grace. I respect Amanda. She's grown so much. If Coco sees similarities, that's flattering. It pushes me too. The moment had transcended a single match. It became a cultural moment in women's tennis. Coco Gauff self-reflection. For Coco, the statement wasn't just a headline. It was a declaration of respect and insight. In a later interview with ESPN, she said, I've faced both. Sabalenka taught me to handle pure aggression. Anisimova taught me the importance of adaptability. That's why I compared them. They're both champions, but in different ways. Coco's honesty won her admiration. Fans began seeing her not only as a star player, but as an astute student of the game. The rivalry that looms. Coco's comparison added fuel to a budding narrative. Anisimova versus Sabalenka, the new defining rivalry. For months, fans have speculated whether Amanda could consistently challenge Sabalenka for dominance. Coco's statement made it official. The question was no longer if, but when. The legacy of the comment. Sports commentators agreed. Coco's comparison had shifted the narrative of the China Open. No longer was the story just about a match. It was about a generational shift, about a new era where power meets precision. For Amanda, the moment became part of her legacy. For Coco, it became part of her voice, the voice of insight and respect. For the sport, it became the spark of something bigger, a rivalry, a story, a movement. Epilogue, the road ahead. As Beijing faded into memory, the tennis world prepared for what came next. The WTA Tour was no longer the same. The comparison Coco made had planted a seed, and that seed was growing fast. Anisimova, Sabalenka, Gauff, three names destined to define the next chapter of women's tennis. And the fans? They were ready. Because Coco had given them more than a comment. She had given them a story of power, precision, respect, and a rivalry that could define a generation. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.